everyone, and welcome back to another episode of You've Got 1 Minute, where we get to interview a new Davis facilitator each month and ask them an interesting question about the field that they specialize in. This month, we are gone back to New Zealand. I love going back to New Zealand. We've gone there a few times. There are a lot of great Davis facilitators in New Zealand and Australia. So this week, we are talking to Danette Moriarty. Did I say that right?
Yes, thank you.
I love saying your last name. It's a lot of fun.
Okay.
Now, Danette is like myself. She's a newer facilitator. She has been with Davis for roughly around 3 years now. Welcome, Danette.
Thank you very much. It's nice to have the opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. We're really excited to talk to you. All right. So thank you, everybody, for taking some time out of your busy schedule and having some fun with us. So as usual, we're going to get right to it. So Danette is going to be answering a question today that's actually very different for me because I do live in a smaller town, but it's a bigger town when we compare it to how many people actually live in your community where you live?
Would be, I think it's about 1,000 maybe.
Yeah, I think I grew up in a town of about 1,200. So I get growing up in that. And I totally, well, when I was young, unfortunately, they did not recognize learning disabilities. But, that would have been compounded with the fact that I did live in a very rural area and they didn't have those, teachers that were experienced in that area or had read up on that. So maybe that could have been one of the reasons why back years ago, a lot of rural areas, actually, a lot of the kids did not get the help because it wasn't, around.
I think now, even though pre-COVID, we're a lot more mobile with our families, but in our area, many of us have returned home because the grandparents are still in that home base. And I believe that we're probably overrepresented in terms of the average numbers in our rural schools, in terms of, my children come home and the cousins have come home. So where you've got it in the family, there's and it's great. It's really good.
Well, there's definitely benefits, right, to being in that small community and having those supports around that we're familiar with.
Absolutely, yeah.
So today, Danette is going to be answering a question about that. And living in a rural area, we're going to be talking about what challenges does she experience while working with individuals who learn differently and live in a rural area. Now, as usual, she will have 60 seconds, 1 minute to answer the question to the best way you can, using as many picture words as you can, so that we can get a clear picture of this.
I don't have that talent, Nadine.
It rubs off, they say. If you hang out with us dyslexics, they say it rubs off. So if anybody has any questions or comments about today's question, please leave them in the comment section or feel free to connect with myself or Danette at our Facebook pages, which will be listed in the post. And we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. All right. Are you ready, Danette?
Yes.
Okay. So how it goes, I'm going to press my button. And I'm going to say, there we go. I'll put my hand up and just let you know yes. And then once you start talking, I'll press start here. And then once your 60 seconds are up, I'll just put my hand up and you can finish that final thought and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Big, deep release.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. What challenges have you experienced while working with individuals who learn differently and live in a rural area? Go ahead.
The challenges are often the obvious ones: distance from support, which is time and expense to go and do programs. And the biggest one, though, I think, is being in a small community, but interestingly, that's also one of the biggest benefits is knowing these children who become our clients from when they were small, and after a program at sports or anytime they're getting a bit wobbly, you can quietly give them a wee a wee reminder. So the beauty of seeing that growth and seeing these clients, go forward in their lives with their tools. Probably difficult from my personal view as a facilitator is having a community that's known you as one person, giving you the credence and you believing in your own integrity of what you're now offering, because it's quite a different thing from what you've done before. So that's interesting. And I've lost it.
You are perfect there. I'll ask a follow-up question, but you just landed at 1 minute. You and Daniel, I know you guys know each other. Perhaps you set it up because he also did a 1 minute even.
Cool.
So I just got a follow-up question to your answer. It definitely feels like I could see how personally it would be challenging for you to build that identity of being a professional Davis person, because the one thing we recognize in the Davis world is that, well, I actually don't know a facilitator that just joined because they just joined. They've either been a teacher who's been impacted, education somewhere in the system who was personally impacted, they had a child that was impacted, or like myself, directly impacted, right? So, and it's typically not like Daniel from last month, who was young. We have typically been older coming into this career. And yeah, we would have worn some hats before. So being recognized as a person who now can help all these other children in a community that you have watched grow up when you wore different hats before would definitely be a challenge. I could totally see that. Now, you had mentioned a little bit ago, we were talking earlier, and I just got to have you speak on that, how that also, though, has been a benefit and about getting these kids and keeping them responsible or accountable, let's say.
Yes, so they see you too, so they know if they're not using their tools, and it's not, it's acceptable. It becomes normal that this is who we are within our community. And also by running a clay club with several of my previous clients, they all support each other as well, which I think is a real gift. It's from their peers to each other. And I guess part of the wonderfulness of being dyslexic, that empathy and that respect for others, that they truly supported themselves as they worked through their trigger words, and they continue to do it in the mainstream school environment as well.
So would you say that the boys and your son and his friends participating and doing the Davis program, that they have united kind of to come together to find a better place for the way that they think and processing, even out when they're out into the world, it sounds like?
Clay Club became like the place to be. Children that hadn't done a program were like, so why do you go up to Danette's house? What are you doing? We're doing our Davis or our Clay Club. And it was like everyone wanted to know. And then as clients worked through their program, it was like, so can I join Clay Club now? Is it? So that was, it was the cool thing to do, which is just phenomenal and such a gift for them and for me. I think it was.
I think that's a beautiful ending, and I think I have my wish that I'd like to put out to the world, because I know also you also travel. Like you had said, you could travel for 7 hours and you'll spend time with someone else living in a rural area. And not to cut down on any of the people that you can meet, but I'm just going to put out in the universe and hope that we get a Danette in all rural areas out there, because Davis needs to have that power in the communities. And can you imagine what these kids would do growing up knowing that they got these amazing abilities versus being left out there in these small towns thinking that they're unreachable, right? When they are definitely reachable.
Yeah.
So I loved your statement. It takes a village to raise a child. So with that, we'll say goodbye. We'll give everybody back their life today, and thank them very much for taking the time to watch us. Thank you very much. And again, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
For more information, go to international website at www.dyslexia.com. In Canada at www.daviscanada.org. Contact Nanny Schumont. Your licensed Davis Dyslexia Correction Facilitator at pictureperfectlearningsolutions.com.